Hello guys, Adam here. So this video is upon request. You wanted me to show you how to install RPITX application on Raspberry Pi. So I have Raspberry Pi 3B. So remember that for RPITX you need to have up to Raspberry Pi 3, so it doesn't work on Raspberry 4. And also I have a RTL SDR USB dongle with a telescopic antenna. I have a micro SD card which will be having Linux, Raspberry Pi Raspbian Linux, so I will show that in a minute how to install this one. You also need to have something like Transflash micro SD card reader, because you will need to install the ISO image on the card here with this. And of course some kind of antenna for RPITX with a connector, and a power source. In my case it is a simple Samsung 5V charger with the micro USB connector. Okay, so let's start with the Raspbian installation on this Transflash card. So I will now switch to the Windows 10 based PC.
Okay, I have now my Windows 10 PC up and running, and we go to this page, raspberrypi.org software, where we can download the image to deploy on the Transflash SD or micro SD card. So to do that, you first need to download an installer. So there's a plenty of version for even for macOS and for Linux devices. So we download it for Windows. Let's put it somewhere here and run. Okay, now we run it. And remember this card reader. You need to connect this card reader over USB to your Windows or macOS PC. So first we run the installer. Now I will connect the card reader with the card in to the PC. So it is now connected. Let's see if it's connected. It should be visible here. Yeah, this is my card reader with the card. And now we run the Raspberry Pi imager. So first of all, you need to choose the operating system you want to install. We'll install this Raspberry Pi OS, but with the full version. And then you pick the card. It should be visible. Yeah, I have it right protected, so I need to plug it out for a while. Then disable the lock and plug it in once again. Yeah, it should be visible now. So once again, select the card. As you can see, I have 16 GB card. I have selected Raspberry Pi OS full and right. Yes, I want to erase everything. So now it erases all the data and it downloads the image from the site of raspberrypi.org. So it will take a couple of minutes, so you need to be patient. Okay, so it's almost finished. It took something like 15 minutes to download, and now it's verifying the whole installation, so it's also taking some up to several minutes, I believe. Okay, now it finishes the verification on the card, and in a second we'll be able to plug out the card from the PC and plug it into the Raspberry Pi. Okay.
Okay, so once you have it all installed on the SD card, we switch it off from PC, we take the card out and plug it into the Raspberry. And important thing is that for the first run of the Raspberry Pi you need to have a mouse, USB mouse and USB keyboard. You have to attach all those devices here to the Raspberry, as well as you need some kind of PC monitor or the TV with the HDMI, and the HDMI port is here, so you need to attach HDMI cable right here. Okay, and what else? Of course you need to power it up. To do that I will be using a 5-volt charger from Samsung, and the charger goes, yeah, where does it go? The charger goes here. Yeah, that's all for the first run, but remember that for using RPI-TX, this one needs to be plugged into the port here, number 4, GPIO number 4, as well as we need the USB RTL SDR USB adapter, and it goes to the port over here, but first you need to unplug this off because it won't fit. Okay, so I will now switch on the Raspberry, and you will see the first run and how to configure the network interfaces and how to download the RTL SDR software as well as RPI-TX.
Okay, so I have now this Raspberry Pi up and running, and you can see the first screen, welcome screen, when you have to configure all the information related to the networks and the Raspberry Linux itself. So let's get started. Now the country, of course, I will choose my own. The language, the time zone, or just use English language. Okay, and now next. It sets the location in Linux, and then the most important is the network configuration, so we'll go to that point in a second. It takes some while for this Linux to set up. We have to wait. Okay, on the upper part of the screen you can see the network interfaces. So currently the Wi-Fi is not associated, as well as the cable is not connected, the Ethernet cable is not connected to the device. Here you enter new passwords, so remember that the default user is Pi and the default password is Raspberry, so I will set the same one. We'll see it will accept the defaults. Okay. Now searching for the networks. Okay, so I will use for the beginning the Ethernet connection. So I'll plug in the cable, the Ethernet cable to the device. So it's plugged in, as you can see up here. So I will skip the Wi-Fi connectivity, but you may want this if you want to attach the Raspberry to your mobile phone. Okay, so it is now connected to the network. And now I can set up the configuration. Let's launch the terminal. So this one here, I will try to make these letters bigger a bit. So you could see all the commands I'm entering. Okay, and first start with updating of the operating system. Okay, first what we do is we do the update of operating system. So the commands are like this: sudo apt get update. It will now pull the information about the packages that are installed. So you need to be patient a bit. And then we do the upgrade of the Linux, so it would have the most recent packages which are necessary to work properly for all this RTL SDR stuff, as well as RPITX. Okay, the next command is upgrade. So it will now pull the newest packages. You need to confirm. As you can see, for this device to be up to date, it needs to get the 16 megabytes of additional packages. So it will finish in a second. And after it is done, we will go with the installation of the RTL SDR USB dongle, which will be needed for RPITX to receive radio information that will be then saved and retransmitted further by this simple antenna that is connected to GPIO 4. So now I will do the updating. Okay, so after system is updated, you need to reload the unit. So you go right here and then maybe not here, but yeah, it should be somewhere here. Log out and then reboot. And now we wait until boots up. And then we continue with installation of the RTL SDR dongle. So you can see the booting screen. Now the Linux should come up. Release January 2021, so it's the newest one, as you can see, and we can continue with installation. Now again, the terminal window. Let's make it bigger. Yeah, maybe that would be sufficient. Okay, it is already working, so we can proceed with the installation of the RTL SDR. So sometimes a single command is sufficient, like this, RTL SDR. So it now tries to find the correct package in the library. Let's allow him to do that. Of course, this package is not so up to date, but it may last for our test. But I would strongly encourage you to install from the Git repository on GitHub the newest release. So it would require some more skills, but it's also nice to do. But we'll start with this package that is already in the repository. So now to test if the dongle is discovered, you need to plug it in. So I will plug it in now over USB. So it's plugged already. You may want to check if it's visible in the logs. Yes, as you can see, it is recognized as this kind of device. So this my particular RTL SDR dongle is here. So we'll now see if it's working. And the command to test this RTL SDR dongle is RTL_test. So as you can see, it is recognized, so it should be working further. So now we go to the RPITX installation. So to install RPITX, we first need to have installed the GIT. The GIT is a tool to pull the source code from the repositories and compile it on your own. So we first install GIT. That is command sudo apt get install GIT. Okay, so it was already provided in the package from the raspberry.org. So there's no need to install this. Now we clone the repository for the RPITX. So it is the HTTPS URL here from GitHub. F5. I don't know if it's 0, it's O. It's uppercase O, uppercase E, uppercase O /RPITX. It's now trying to download the data into the directory. Okay, now we go to the directory it created, so we can even see if there's, you can see RPITX down here, so it is created. It contains the source code for this application. Now we go to this directory and we run the script, which is named install sh. Now it tries to pull some packages from the internet, so we need to wait. It probably needs some other packages to make a compilation. So you need to be patient. It will take some time and then it will try to compile the source code. As you can see, it was lacking some libraries. It already downloaded them. And if it has all in a place, then it will try to compile the source code. So we need to be patient here and wait until it completes. Okay, so once RPITX is installed, you also need to reboot the machine. So we do it once again. So as you can see, at the last part of the installation, I had to confirm modification in boon-config. So now we restart the unit once again. And then we'll check if this RPITX is working. So hold on. So just to remind you, I have now RTL SDR connected over USB. I have this little antenna connected to the GPIO 4 port. And now I'll be checking if the RPITX is working. So once again, I will make it bigger. Like this. Once you have booted again the Raspberry, you can test the RPITX application. To do that, you would have to go to the installation directory, RPITX. As you can see, there are some files here, and we launch the easy testing. So this application is only for the transmission. So if you have a PC with the second RTL SDR dongle, you can see what the Raspberry Pi is transmitting over a particular frequency. So there are several options like this, spectrum painting. So this all is only the transmission. So you need to have a PC with RTL SDR and some kind of application that will show you the waterfall, like SDR Shop. So you need to see my other videos that I'm showing how to install the PC related applications for RTL SDR dongle. But yeah, that was just a test. And let's now go to the mode that you will be more frequently using. This one is the RTL menu. RTL menu is the receiving and transmission in one application. So first you set the receive frequency, then the gain, which should be maximum, and transmission frequency. As you have seen on my other video, you can, with this tool, with this script, you can duplicate or clone the car keys and or garage keys. So first record, and it will use the RTL SDR dongle to listen the radio transmission. You stop it with the enter key, then apply to replay the recorded transmission, and you also stop it with the enter key. So that's basically all regarding the RPA-TX application, but there's one more thing that you need to be aware of. If you intend to use RPA Raspberry Pi, you need to probably to configure static IP address. So to do that, you have to go first to associate the Raspberry with the Wi-Fi network. When you select particular network, you will be prompted to enter the password. So after you've done it, you need to go to launch the editor and make some configuration changes in particular file. So this file is residing here. So it's etc/etc/dhcpcd.conf. And in this file, you have settings for the IP addressing and how they are assigned to particular network interface. So in our case, we'll be using interface WLAN.0, and we want this static IP assigned. It has to be the same network, so you need first to see what is the network used for terminals for devices on your Wi-Fi interface. Let's assume we want to use this IP, okay? And we want to configure a default route. So this is also configurable here. In my case, it is .1 at the end, I believe. So I don't know exactly if I'm not using, probably I'm using here something like this. We'll see that in a minute. And also the DNS settings. It's also the same IP as my default route here, but we can also enter a last resort. In this case, it is a DNS from Google. And we now save it. So Ctrl X. We want to save it, yes. Yeah, I was mentioning about the network. So to check what is the network and IP address assigned currently, there's a command IP A, and in my case, this is the network. So this .1, this network must correspond to the one that is used for DHCP. Yes, so now probably if I switch off the network interface, disconnect, yes, we'll see if there's no, yeah, the link is down, there's no IP. And if I switch this one back again. Yeah, it also asked me to enter the key. We're gonna see if those changes applied or not. Yeah, as you can see, I have now static IP assigned, so full success. Let's see if we can ping our Google servers to see if the network is working. Not yet, so something went wrong with probably with my router, so I need to check if the router is .1 or something else. Yeah, the routes are not applied. So the last command for routing probably went wrong. So I need to check this one. There is something wrong in here. Just give me a second, so I will try to reconfigure this in correct way. Okay, so in my case the router IP address is different, so it's not .1, but it's 1.254, I believe. So I need to re-edit this file to enter a proper IP here. So in my case, this is like this. In your network, it may be different, and as well as this is also not correct in my case. And then I'm saving the file by Control Y, no, Control X, save modified. Yes, and we have to bring down the Wi-Fi interface. I maybe even reload the unit, but let's first disconnect. Let's now check if the IPs are off from the interface. Now we're going to connect once again, and we're gonna check if so it's not yet IP assigned. Now it's assigned. Let's now ping Google, and now it works. Okay, so if you want to see if the default row is applied, there's also command named netstat -rvan. In my case, this is the one, but in your case, it may be .1 or something. You need to check on your router, on your local network, what is the correct IPs. Let's also check if the DNS is working by some page. Yeah, it's also working, so I think that will be all from this. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I was trying to keep it short, but it's a lot of work to do on the Raspberry with the initial setup. As you can see, something like 2 hours passed. So hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, please press the like button and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again. Bye bye.